Hi PCC, welcome to Wine Down. This is a new series where I'm going to talk to some of our members that are wine lovers just like me. We're going to get to know them, and then I'm going to take them through our blind tasting, just the same way we've been doing it. They're going to blind the wine and then kind of give me the indicators, and we'll talk through each of those together to arrive at our initial and final conclusions. So with me today, I'm welcoming Mark McKeever. I'm really excited to have Mark. Mark, why don't you introduce yourself to PCC?
Sure. Mark McKeever, joined at the end of 2013, big golf fanatic. You'll find me mostly over at Flowertown, a little bit over here with the gym and the 9 holes that we have here. But yeah, love to get involved with all the wine events we do here. We'll have a bunch of stuff coming up for you here shortly.
So Mark, I'm sure that during the pandemic you've golfed a lot more this season.
Yeah, the golf game's been pretty good. Trying to get out whenever I can. We have a lot of good options here. It's been crowded. It's good to see all the membership out there, and it's been a really fun summer.
Well, I met Mark early on in my tenure here. I was just walking through the lounge and kind of talking about wine and a blind tasting we were doing, and Mark kind of perked up, and so we struck up a nice conversation. And since then, he's joined the blind tasting group that I'm in, and has become a good friend and mentor to me in the club. So Mark, tell me a little bit about how you got into wine.
But yeah, it goes back to college days. I was one of those guys that would just tend to have a couple bottles of wine under the bed in the dorm instead of a whole bunch of beer. And that just sort of morphed into wanting to explore wine, taste different wines. My wife loves wine too, so we tend to travel and try to see different things, different vineyards. We go out to California on a pretty regular basis. This year was obviously a little different, but it's great to see different places and taste different wines.
Yeah. Do you have any experiences at some of those wineries, or any ones that stick out to you as maybe more memorable than the others?
Sure. We're big into Pinot Noir. We do a lot of trips out to the Russian River Valley, Sonoma Coast. We get wines from Literai, Williams-Sellium.
Okay.
Some of those places like Mary Edwards.
And those are getting shipped to you, to
yeah,
your house?
Yeah, we get them sent to the house.
How do you feel about the value in those subscription clubs? Do you find it's good, or?
I think it's what you make of it. We can control the quantity that we get. So there's obviously price breaks, and I'll get emails and notifications when something new or cool or some sort of deal comes up, and we'll take advantage. I mean, usually it's nothing crazy, but we tend to just keep a pretty rolling stock coming in.
Okay. Well, let's get down to our craft, shall we say? It's been we both have been on a little bit of a hiatus, so we'll see how it goes. So again, we have this wine in the glass for Mark. He and I are gonna take us through the tasting grid, and then I may ask some more questions of him. He's going to give me all the explanation, all the indicators, sort of like I was giving to you before in our other series, and then we'll kind of arrive at a conclusion and try not to suffer from too much groupthink. So let's give it a go. So Mark, let's start with what do you see in the glass?
All right. So at first glance, we have a clear red wine, no evidence of gas or sediment. Color, we're outdoors, so it's a little brighter. I see sort of like a medium ruby, not much rim variation. Maybe it goes down to a pale deep salmon. Actually, pale and deep don't work together, but it has a salmon rim variation. Looking at the viscosity here, it looks pretty thick. I say the viscosity is medium plus.
Can you see through it?
I can. We're outside, and I think that might be because we're outside. It's probably, I would call it deep, medium deep maybe on the ruby side.
Could you read through it?
No, I don't think I could. I can see through it, but I don't think I could read through it.
Okay. So on the nose, kind of what are you getting there?
Getting some red fruit. Some strawberry, some cherry. I'm also getting a little bit of like cinnamon and nutmeg in there.
Okay.
Might be some evidence of oak if there is. I know I haven't blind tasted in a while, but maybe it's there.
Okay. Do you feel like there's any earth component in there?
I do, yeah. There's a little bit of like, there's some dry leaves going on, some forest floor.
Okay. All right, red fruit, forest floor.
Yeah.
Is
Like
one more
tea
dominant than
maybe
the
some
other,
tea
the fruit or
leaves.
the forest?
I think the forest floor is starting to really take over here as
Okay.
I'm sitting here swirling it.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's give a go with the palate.
I guess it's more tertiary dominant. Sort of reaffirming those red fruits.
Okay.
It's got some pretty good tannin structure. I'd say tannins are medium plus.
Okay. Do you feel like it's more grape or more oak tannin?
I think it's grape tannin.
Okay.
I think the acidity's high, medium plus.
Okay.
Alcohol's there, but it's not jumping out at me. I'd call alcohol medium.
Okay.
But yeah, there's definitely some tannic structure there that's like just sucking the moisture out of my mouth. I'm definitely getting that.
Okay. Does it beg for food or a certain kind of food? Or you're like, what would you want to eat with that?
Yeah, it's definitely a food wine. I don't see it by itself as easily. I think you need some sort of fat with it, maybe some fatty cheese, even like a pasta dish or something like that.
Okay.
It's not a steak wine.
No. Okay. It's not that tannic.
No. As I still get a lot of the fruit at the same time. It's actually pretty well balanced.
Yeah. So you like it?
Yeah, I do. But yeah, there's tannin there. I think it's youthful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's that old. Doesn't quite have some of those characteristics, but it's a good wine. It's a good table wine that I would pair with food, with something that has fat in it. Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready to give sort of an initial conclusion? Do you think we're?
I'll let you go first. I'll defer to the wine expert.
Do you think we're in the old world or the new world?
I think we're in the old world here.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
The acidity's high.
Mm-hmm.
The alcohol's medium, but some of these newer ones, there's some higher alcohol wine.
But well integrated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's well balanced too.
High viscosity, higher acid,
Yeah.
earth driven.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sounds like we're in the old world. You know what? That's kind of lesson number one. Is if it's fruit driven, it's going to be in the new world. If it's earth driven, we'll be back in the old world. So do you feel like you're in? So are we in France?
Yeah, I think I'm in France with this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I just do. I have that inkling. It's got the characteristics of what I would think are a French wine.
Okay, so if you're in France, typically we'll be in Burgundy, we'll be in Rhone, or we'll be in Bordeaux. So let's just take Rhone for example. Does it taste like a Syrah? You said it was begging for fat. Is there cured meat in there?
No, that's the one. So I didn't get any cured meat here.
Okay.
On the.
All right, so let's get rid of Rhone.
Yeah.
So we're at Burgundy Pinots, or we're at Bordeaux, kind of Merlot.
I think there's too
Cab.
much structure for a Burgundy Pinot.
Okay, so we're done with Burgundy Pinot. So maybe we're in Bordeaux. You think?
We could be, yeah.
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 Okay.
But it's not that deep in color.
So that's throwing me off a little bit for Bordeaux. Is
Yeah.
the red fruit and the higher acid, and the fact that it's not as deep in color as you might expect.
Yeah.
Also, you said nutmeg, and some of that makes me wonder if there's a little American oak on it. So if we're in the old world, for me, how do you feel about Italy or Spain?
See, there's no real I tend to put Italy with getting a lot of leather and earth too. I don't get that at all.
And the acid's not elevated enough to be Chianti, for example?
No, I don't think it is.
Okay. So if we talk about Spain, we're talking about that nutmeg and baking spice that Mark called out on the nose. And in Spain, typically, or historically at least, they've used American oak, which is an indicator, which has nutmeg and baking spices as an indicator. The fact that he could pseudo see through that also plays into Tempranillo, maybe, as a lighter skin grape. The oak structure that he described lends itself well. The Spanish tend to oak their wines, and the way they describe them and categorize them are the amount of time that they've sat on oak. So that's a very big element of their winemaking in Spain. So I guess if we're not in the acid of Italy, which is kind of where I was hedging early on, then I would go to Spain, I would go to Tempranillo. I would say maybe that is a maybe Ribera del Duero. And the reason I say that is because if it's Rioja, they tend to really oak it, and it would be darker. And usually, we're talking about Grand Reservas, and I have the benefit of also knowing what's on our list. Although I did not pick that. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about it, Spain?
Yeah, I can definitely be there.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think Tempranillo is a good call.
All right. You guys want to check this out? Let's see what we got. You ready?
Yeah.
What you want to call a year?
I think it's youthful.
You said youthful,
It's still really vibrant. I would say like
1 to 3 or 3 to 5?
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
Yeah, I think it's like a 15.
You think this is a 2015 Tempranillo something or other?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. This is the best part of this. Jeez, Amy, you really wrapped this up. Christmas time. Now, I also didn't like Pinot because of the shape of the bottle. It's a trick. Italian, Barbaresco. I thought maybe.
I didn't get the leather though.
I will tell you.
Leather and something like that.
So, here's one thing that after blinding this that we know about this Barbaresco is that typically Barbarescos, not necessarily to the extent of Barolo, are very much food wines. They are hardy in oak and tannic and structure. Really kind of give you that pucker and dry the roof of your mouth, and they really do beg for food. But I think that, to be honest with you, Mark, the way you described it as being so well integrated, I think speaks to the quality of the producer and the wine.
Yeah, it's good. I like that.
Man, I was hedging Italian, and then I talked myself out of it.
Well, I talked you out of it.
Well, there's the groupthink right there.
Yeah, I know. Called it.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today. We'll see you next time. And remember, the best wine is the wine that you like best. Have a great week.